So a lot of people these days talk about quitting your job, following your passion because jobs are disappearing, the global financial crisis, we're all gonna lose our jobs and all this kind of stuff. And I think basically it's true. And I'm sure, and I'm also convinced that most of the people will lose their jobs and are gonna be replaced by algorithms or by people that do the same job that you were doing for like half of the price. Um, but I think it still misses an important point. It misses a point that um, having a paycheck is one of the best things ever. And while you still have it, of course, it's not going to be there forever. You should benefit from it as long as possible. You should not give it up. So instead of quitting your job, I think it makes a lot more sense to really work on the skills that you might need in a year or 2 years when you want to try to sell your books, when you want to start a blog, when you want to start selling your paintings, when you want to start that podcast or start that company. So I think it makes a hell of a lot more sense to keep your job as long as possible and work towards developing your skill sets because making money on your own is one of the toughest things out there. If you don't get a paycheck anymore, it takes a hell lot of time to really start making money with your own projects. And I'm not talking about consulting or freelancing because that's a whole different story. I'm talking about you start your own kind of small thing like a startup or you become a writer. Um, so what I suggest is that you never quit your job if you still have one. But instead, you work on the skills that you might need in the future, like building up an audience, like building up the demand, getting connected to all sorts of people. And then once you have developed all those skills, and once you maybe even have saved enough money, then you can make the leap, or you're ready when the shit hits the fan. Because and my motto is always expect the best, but always be ready for the worst to come, right? So get ready for the worst possible outcome because it might be that we all gonna lose our jobs in a year or two, three, four, five. Um, but I cannot predict the future. But at the end of the day, it's really about getting ready for it. And while you still have your job, never ever quit your job. Start a side hustle. Start all sorts of projects on the side. Start connecting yourself with all the folks in your company. Um, because a paycheck is such a nice thing to have. Because if you don't have a paycheck, everything is so much harder. So at the end of the day, it really boils down to keep your job as long as possible, expect it to be gone within the next few years, but also get ready for it. So that's my take on this one. See you, folks. See you tomorrow.